guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled My Entitled Ex-Family Shows Up at My Job. Hey, Reddit fam. With the title of this one, you know it's a cluster duck. This happened Friday night and I've been struggling to put into words just how insane it was. My ex-in-laws and my ex showed up at my ducking job during the biggest event of the year. Every year at my job, there is a Christmas-themed party. The dancers dress up as sexy elves, my boss dresses up as Santa, the bartenders dress up as reindeer and the bouncers dress up as snowmen. The place is beautifully decorated as a winter wonderland with a huge throne for my boss to sit on and custom poles for the dancers to dance around him. It's a huge thing at my job and it is always one of the highest grossing nights of the years. It's advertised all over town that people can come, get their pictures taken with us, sit on Santa's lap and enjoy a fun evening with custom Christmas music made by a DJ. We even have Christmas-themed drinks, guys. And they are so good. I was so excited for it because I started working there this year, so it was my first time being part of this event. I was dancing that evening, so I was dressed up as a sexy elf. I was feeling great. It was pretty late into the evening, around midnight when this incident took place. I was dancing on stage when out of nowhere, I heard the shrieking sound of my ex-Mill crying. I turned around and there they were. Ex-Mill, ex-Phil and Ducking Bill. Ex-Mill was slapping at Bill's arm and pointing at me. I couldn't make out what she was saying over the music. All I could hear was the shrill sound of her voice. I started looking around for Kyle, my boyfriend. I couldn't see him, but I did see other bouncers, so I waved at them, trying to get their attention. We have a special wave that when a bouncer sees it, they know to come running. Bill comes to the stage and starts shouting at me while the men around him were waving cash at me. He tells me to come down and to come with him, that I was bringing shame to his family. I ignored him. I saw a couple bouncers heading for us, so I kept dancing, believing I was saved. That was protocol. Call the bouncer and keep working to avoid making a scene. It was then I felt someone grab my ankle and pull. In my panic, I fall and let out a scream. I look up and it's Bill. He had pulled himself onto the stage and grabbed me. I start kicking at him with my other foot until the bouncers finally got there and pulled him away from me. I feel someone else grab me and I screamed again, but when I looked up, I saw it was Kyle. Bill and my ex-in-laws were taken into the office, while I was taken backstage to ride out the panic attack. Kyle held me until I calmed down. The police were called, and I got to watch as Bill was forced into the back of a police cruiser in handcuffs. He's being charged with public disturbance, assault and trespassing. My boss was talking to my ex-in-laws, telling them not to come back and warned them the police would be called if they did. Despite how pissed he was, my boss was pretty calm and polite. I then heard ex-Mill shouting about how she was going to take me to court to take my children away from me because a godless whore like me wasn't fit to be a mother. I couldn't take hearing that and I rushed at her. Kyle had to grab me and stop me, but I was screaming at her that she was a psychopath, and she would never get her hands on my kids again, that she had raised a lying, cheating, emotionally abusive scumbag. She raised a hand to slap me, but the bouncers and police got between us. She and ex-Phil got into their car and drove off after being threatened with arrest. After calm had been restored, we all went back inside and resumed the party. I made good money that night. Even Samantha, my job's entitled gossip, couldn't deny what Bill and my ex-in-laws did was crazy. Over the weekend, I got a call from someone claiming to be Bill's ex-girlfriend. The one he cheated on me with. I asked her how she got my number and she said she had her ways. She said she decided to call me after Bill called her begging to get bailed out. She told me that during their relationship, ex-Mill treated her like crap and compared me and her a lot and always acted like she wasn't good enough. She was relieved when they went to Greece, believing her and Bill's relationship could be salvaged at that point, but she was wrong. Bill would also talk about me a lot and she was always crying about being compared to his ex. When I got the job at the club, his behavior became more erratic. She told me that she confronted him after he was thrown out of the club because word travels fast and she heard about the whole thing. He got pissed and slapped her, then threw her out of his house. She got him arrested and he was fired from his job as a result. I thanked her for the information and promptly told her never to call me again. She asked me why and I told her that she had no issue cheating with Bill and hurting his wife and kids and that she was only calling me to get back at him for what he's done to her. I hung up and blocked her. I plan to go file for a restraining order today, but now I am armed with more information that will make the process so much easier and go so much faster. Win for me. Merry Christmas, everyone. The next story is titled I Can't Stand My Entitled Friend. I say, friend, 'cause there are many times I don't even want to associate with him, I just have to if I want to be friends with all my other friends because he's dating one of their sisters who I am also friends with. We used to be friends for a while but kind of just drifted apart other than the whole group situations. But he's always had this sort of self-entitlement, which honestly is very surprising because he was very poor growing up and I would feel like that would make him more grateful for the things he has, but apparently not. I guess he wasn't raised the best and is quite narcissistic, but still not an excuse. Whenever I'd offer to get him food, he'd get himself at least the same amount that I did, and if I told him no 'cause I don't have enough, whether it was true or not, he'd get all mad and start throwing a tantrum pretty much. Why I didn't see these signs back then, but you pretty much that for years. If I ever wanted a ride from him, I was pretty much expected to pay him for gas and about twice the amount it would take to actually get me there and back. Even if he was the one to ask me to come over, which then wondered why I stopped coming over after the second time. He expects his partner to do pretty much everything in the relationship and is particularly abusive at times. I don't even want to associate with him because of this, but for some stupid reason I still do. The emotional abuse and financial abuse, and she can't do anything about it because between the fact that they just had a kid and are facing eviction 'cause apparently PS5 was more important than rent. He can't manage to keep a job and just quit his current one because he hates them all and can't find anything he enjoys and just wishes he could work from home, aka sit around and play video games all day while smoking weed and doing the littlest amount of work for the most amount of pay. He has no other places that will hire him 'cause there isn't a whole lot of jobs available around here, especially when you prioritize video games and weed over your family and their safety. He wanted his wife to be working full-time up until pretty much the day she went into labor and was constantly pushing and arguing about it even after the doctor pulled her off work months prior. She applied but thankfully they declined her. He wants her to work full-time and pay all the bills so he can spend the money on himself, and I guess since she had the baby, he's pushing it again even though the baby breastfeeds, and he has no idea how to take care of a baby. He can't even take care of himself. Like I get it's not 100% his fault, his BPD and not being raised properly, but a lot of this is inexcusable, and you can't expect everyone to just give in to your wants and desires. You can't treat your wife like your mother, who he also treats like a boss, or expect her to take on those roles. Trust me, I get life isn't easy, but I have never once felt a sense of entitlement like the world owes me something, nor have I ever felt a need to take it out on others. The next story is titled Am I the a-hole for not changing my parking spot for my neighbor? I've lived in the apartment I'm in for 5 years now, my neighbor for 4, she has had a van the entire time. She parks that van in the driveway of our building. The driveway is long and narrow and can fit 2 cars one behind the other. It's steep and leads up to the only entry either of us use. Me because my son is in a wheelchair and it's the only door ground level, her because it's the door she prefers to use. For the past year I've also had a car. I was told after the first time I parked it in the driveway behind her that wouldn't be okay. So, she asked me to pull up over our walkway and park on the strip of grass immediately adjacent to our building, where the meters are attached, and the flowers had been planted for landscaping purposes. I agreed. My son needs to be placed on the passenger's side in the back so I can accommodate him with the wheelchair and have space to load and unload him. This hasn't inconvenienced anyone, albeit a difficult angle to have gotten used to shimmying into. I have adapted. We can both freely come and go as we please. Now here we are a year later, and my boyfriend has gotten a vehicle. He also lives with me. And in the winter we have a parking ban. Nobody can park on the street between the hours of 12 to 6 am, so he waits until as late as possible and pulls into the driveway behind her for the evening and moves when he needs to leave for work into morning. I leave for work the earliest 5 days a week. This morning she texted us and called us 15 minutes before my boyfriend usually leaves for work. Today is my day off, saying she needed to go. But we both missed her. She knocked on the door and we simply moved his vehicle. She quietly discussed with my boyfriend outside that if perhaps they both came at me, they could peruse me to take the spot at the top of the driveway and let them both block me in and let her have the space I've had for the past year. The spot that allows me to leave for work every day without making anyone move. The spot I need to have to accommodate the amount of space needed for a wheelchair transfer. The spot she stuck me in knowing how difficult it was to get in and out of because she didn't want to be inconvenienced. She wants that spot now that I need it. Am I the a-hole for telling both her and my boyfriend that even if they both moved out, I would still park where I park whether they like it or not? She never suggests that my boyfriend parks at the top and her behind him because when she comes home, she wants to be able to stay home and my boyfriend comes and goes a lot. So, she would have to move for him several times a day. Mind you, this is the 10th time she has suggested I rearrange my life to make her life easier, and this is the 10th time I has refused to move my space. This is only the first time it has inconvenienced her in a way where she needed to actually reach out for us to move the vehicle. All of the other requests came at the anticipation of being inconvenienced. Comment said, not the a-hole. You did what she requested and now she wants something else to make life more convenient for her. I would hold my ground and park where you have been for years. She feels entitled to not be hassled with car moving and just wants what's easiest for her. Another comment said, not the a-hole. Speak to your landlord. There should be enough spaces for 2 cars to park next to each other in a shared driveway for multiple units. The next story is titled Spoiled Horribly Cousin Made My Grandma Cry at Christmas. My grandma always tried to get all her children the same gift and grandchildren the same gift because she never wanted anyone to feel slighted. But one Christmas my cousins were still young, 10 and 8, and the rest of us grandkids were teenagers. My grandma asked my aunt what her kids would like and was told a fishing pole for the 10-year-old and a sun Care Bear for the 8-year-old. Let's call her Tracy. She went all over town looking for this Care Bear with my mom and found it. Christmas Day rolls around and when Tracy opened the present my grandma was so excited. Immediately Tracy turns to my grandma and says this is the wrong one. My grandma says, oh, I thought you liked the sun Care Bear. Tracy says, no, I don't like this one. I wanted I think it was Rainbow Bear? My grandma awkwardly looked at my aunt and said, wasn't this the right one? My aunt said, oh no, I thought for sure I told you Rainbow Bear. Then my aunt turned to Tracy and prompted her, but don't you like this bear too? Tracy is now in the midst of a fit and says with disgust that she doesn't know what to do with it she does not want it. And that my grandma can take it back or do whatever she wants with it. My grandma was holding back tears as she took it back and said she was sorry she didn't like her gift. And my aunt laughed and said well she always taught her kids to be honest. As a side note, this was the Christmas Tracy made my great-grandma cry she had a colostomy bad and passed gas. Tracy loudly walked around the room saying who did that and something smells bad. My great-grandma started crying out of embarrassment while my aunt simpered and quietly said, Trace, as Tracy repeated herself loudly over and over again. I still get so upset over this since it was my great-grandma's last Christmas with us. The next story is titled Wake Me Up at 4 a.m. Enjoy the hungover sauna. I've been solo traveling the past 3 months in Southeast Asia. These past 3 months I've been staying in hostels, dorms with anywhere from 6 to 12 other random people and have not had any issues with anyone. Sure, there have been times people coming back late at night, people packing up early morning, and the occasional hookups. For the most part though people try to be respectful and not disturb others while sleeping. This happened a couple weeks ago in the Philippines. I checked into a hostel and was put in an 8-person dorm room with a group of 7 guys that were all doing some work program together and were taking a weekend trip. They go out the first night and come back at 4 a.m. and make a ton of noise which was annoying but thought it might be a one-time thing. No. The next night they go out again and come back again at 4 a.m. but this time they make absolutely no effort keep quiet. They were absolutely hammered. In fact, they turn on all the lights and they say to each other, ha ha we're probably waking up that random in our room but *ck him. I was pissed. Not only did they fully wake me up, but I also had to be up early the next morning and was really trying to get a good night's rest. A circus ensues for the next 2 hours which included them playing music, having other people they worked with come in the dorm peeking behind my curtain into my bed saying, who the duck is that? Drunk wrestling, and them all taking showers at 5 a.m. One guy passes out in the shower with the door open and their friends just leave him there like it was normal. Finally, I had enough. I aggressively jumped out of bed and told them all to STFU, this isn't the petty part. I went to the bathroom, grabbed the guy that was passed out drunk in the shower by his collar, he was still clothed, and threw his ass into his bed with his clothes completely soaked. All the guys just looked at me stunned, and they can tell they just woke up a bull in the china shop. I then went and shut off all the lights and told them all to get their together. It was aggressive, but I was so mad at how inconsiderate these people were. I could hear them snickering at me in the dark after I had gone off on them. Now to the petty part. I tried to sleep, but at that point my adrenaline was pumping and there was zero chance of me getting another hour of shut-eye before I had to leave, so I started plotting my revenge. About an hour later I hear everyone passed out snoring. It gets really hot and humid in the Philippines, so I go over and grab the controller to the room's AC and crank the heat all the way on high. Then I take the controller and throw it under the passed-out guy's bed where it would be extremely hard to find. Next, I pull off the curtains off the sliding glass door. It was a removable cloth curtain. I didn't destroy the hostel, and threw that under a different guy's bed. Finally, I start to get ready as loud as possible to return the favor to these drunk, hungover a-holes. I cannot describe the satisfaction I felt as I heard all the groans from these dudes getting woke up early, as I turned on the lights and slammed the door shut on my way out. With the heat cranked up, the bright sunlight coming in, and no way to cool down, I knew these dudes were going to have one of the most miserable hangovers of their life. Enjoy the sauna and fresh sunlight, duckers. For good measure I went to the front desk of the hostel and let them know of the circus these guys had last night and requested that I change rooms because they were so rude. I came back later that day and was met by the manager of the hostel, who was super apologetic for what happened. Not only did he upgrade me to a private room for free, but he also let me know that he had thrown the guys out of the dorm for causing a ruckus and losing the remote curtain. I said to him, "Have you checked underneath the beds? They were throwing stuff around all night." They found the controller and curtain, thanked me for helping, and led me to my new room. Yeah, maybe I went a little far, and sure, you can call me the a-hole, but revenge had never felt so sweet. The thought of these guys sweating bullets in a heated, fully lit up room while being massively hungover has me smiling to this day. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.